Happy Thursday, Flock Nation. It is January 2nd of 2025. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett. As always, joined alongside Sarah Ellison. Happy New Year to you and yours. We're glad you're with us. It's officially Week 18 of this NFL regular season. It's been Week 18. It feels like this week is broken up. Today feels like a Monday, oddly. I don't know. Yesterday was just bizarre when you have New Year's Eve smack dab in the middle of the week and you're doing shenanigans the way that I was. That's just kind of how it feels like. But today's live stream is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. We do have breaking news this morning, which is now into the afternoon, and it has everything to do with something that the Ravens waited a long time to do, partner. And I know you know that better than most, and that is crowning a homegrown wide receiver a Pro Bowler. And that's exactly what they'll be able to do this year. The second-year player out of Boston College, Zay Flowers, one of 9 Ravens, Sarah. They lead the way by far when you look around the league, and that's something we'll discuss right off the top, along with Emmanuel Acho's latest claim that goes against Lamar's candidacy, some presser notes from yesterday's coordinator interviews, and we're going to say practice reports, but guess what? I have one right now from the beat reporters that are out there, and the only absence is Justice Hill, who's dealing with an illness. So they got a clean slate going in the regular season finale as well. It's great to see you, partner.
It's great to see you. Is that the turtleneck you wore on New Year's Eve? I just need to know these things.
It was not that. I went
Okay.
white on New Year's Eve. Typically you go black. I don't know why I didn't go black, but and this is brown. So I got a couple of them that are in the arsenal.
Well, we got the turtleneck gang here today. Both you and I got it going on. It's chilly. It is chilly outside. Trying to stay warm. But despite the chilliness, the Ravens are on fire. Because as you have noted and have up on the screen, Ravens led the entire league with the most Pro Bowlers, first team Pro Bowlers, with nine Pro Bowlers. The next team, Lions got 7, Vikings 6, Eagles 6, Kansas City 5, Cowboys 5. What are they doing with all their Pro Bowlers over there? Come on now. Steelers 4 and the Texans 4. So Eric DaCosta, I'm sure, is very proud as he is the team architect. He certainly is still benefiting from the last pick that Ozzie Newsome ever made in Lamar Jackson, but he's not doing too shabby. He's got to feel pretty good about 9 Pro Bowlers on the roster that he has constructed.
Yeah, and just a couple notes, right? When you look at the history of the team as we transition to the headliner, as I mentioned off the top, and that is that Zay is going to the Pro Bowl. He and Eric DaCosta, and I'm sure all of you hope that they're actually not in Orlando for the Pro Bowl, which will mean they're preparing for a Super Bowl. But the first wide receiver, Sarah, in franchise history to be selected to the Pro Bowl, we'll say that as many times as you guys would like to hear it. Other wide receivers like Jermaine Lewis and Jacoby Jones have gone to the Pro Bowl in the past as returners. So just to be clear here on how this came to be, and after 29 years of franchise history and franchise years, the fact that Zay goes in year 2, obviously notable. And at the same time, finally this streak comes to an end, because that's not a trend or a streak that you want to be a part of as an organization, Sarah, that prides itself in so many different ways from a team building perspective.
You don't, and that's why we kind of at times we got to kind of separate Ozzie from Eric, right? So Ozzie, I remember kind of like he certainly didn't put in the resources that Eric DaCosta has in terms of draft picks. Neither GM liked to pay wide receivers, but Eric DaCosta, I remember when he took over and he's like, we got to take more swings. We got to take more swings. And then he's used first rounders since 2019 is when he took over. So he's been in charge of 5 drafts. And Zay Flowers was drafted in 2022. 2022.
Excuse me, he would be 23 because this is year 2 for him.
That's right, 2023.
And 2022 was headline worthy as well, because they had 2 first rounders, and both of them look to be guys that they're certainly worthy of extending in Linderbaum and Hamilton.
Right. And what year was Bateman? Was he 2019?
Bateman was 21. So Marquise Brown was his first round swing in 19.
Right.
20 they didn't have one, right? Because they had Dobbins in the second round. Or who the heck was 20?
I got to look up his draft history.
I'm just forgetting off the top of my head. But 2021 was Bateman. 2022 they went Hamilton and Linderbaum. 23 they went Zay, and of
Yeah.
course this past year they went with Wiggins.
You're right. So Rashad 2021 and then 2022 is when he had 2 first rounders, and it was Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, both Pro Bowlers also.
Yep.
So he had 2 first round picks. Okay, now that we're like looking into this is like, yeah, Eric DeCosta's done a pretty fine job. Okay, so Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, both first rounders, both Pro Bowlers. 2023, Zay Flowers. Then 2024, Nate Wiggins. And he's well on his way. He's well on his way. And then Marquise Brown, his first ever pick in the first round. Marquise Brown is over there playing with the Chiefs right now. You know, he's coming back from an injury, and we'll see what he has to do. So, but point being is Eric DeCosta has been in charge of the draft for 5 years. And in those 5 years, he was able to bring home a wide receiver going to the Pro Bowl. So I know we're about to play a video that was produced by Ravens Productions. And Zay Flowers will be in tears. I'm sure most people have seen it. But this moment, as good it is for Zay, you know it's got to feel good for Eric for the history that has gone on here. And he's been determined to turn it around. And he finally has done so after 29 years of Ravens history and 5 years of his drafting history.
And thanks to Chike, by the way, for reminding us who the first rounder was in 2020. It was Patrick Queen, of course. That was the pandemic draft class, which had it tough right out of the gate. But just because how unique that offseason was and how unique that entire year was, something I remember talking about often several years ago. But yeah, to your point, let's go to this Ravens Productions clip that has since went viral, and deservedly so, because Zay was not only deserving of this, but I think we're all deserving of watching this, because this is a treat to start off the new year.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, you got set? You made the Pro Bowl.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
You made it.
oh, 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 oh.
I think you might be the first receiver drafted that made the Pro Bowl. But you made it, man. You made it. You made it. I knew you would. First time I ever saw you, I knew you would. Excited, man. You believe that?
Nah, that's crazy though.
I know.
From a little kid, that's a dream.
I know. So I always tell people I have 2 favorite memories. Calling a guy when we draft him, and then telling him when they made the Pro Bowl for the first time. So, you know what, man? I'm so happy for you. Your family, your dad, you know what I mean? Now we gotta keep going, right?
Yep.
Our goal's not done.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta go get that ring now.
Yeah.
I thought I was in trouble.
No, I know. That's what I wanted you to feel like. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'll be down in Orlando. Hopefully you're not there.
Yeah.
Because that's Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're going there. We're going there. I'd rather go there.
Me too. Me too. So let's go, huh? Have a great week, okay? Now
Yes, sir.
don't get distracted too much
Gotcha.
by it. Enjoy it today.
I will.
But it's time to get back to work, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right, man.
I don't even know what to say. I can't even cry. Like, that is crazy though. It's something I dreamed of since a kid, and always participate in something like that. And everybody have dreams of doing it. It's crazy when it really hit. Got the Pro Bowl.
Awesome stuff there from Ravens Productions. And Sarah, as he said in that video, it felt like he was in trouble walking in. Well, if this is an exhibit A, this screenshot there on the way in, right, closing the door behind him. I think we've all been there in some form or fashion, right, in life. And you walk into your boss's office, and here's Zay with a look on his face that's pretty serious, maybe even a little nervous.
Yeah.
And to go from that, Sarah, to this,
To that.
in a matter of seconds,
Yeah.
heck yeah. Congratulations. The Flowers family has been through a lot. Zay has been through a lot. They are a tight-knit, close family. I know it means a ton to he and his crew. And obviously it means a lot to the organization. They can finally get the monkey off their back. After 29 years, Zay Flowers, the first homegrown Ravens wide receiver to earn a Pro Bowl nod.
And obviously other screen grabs that we saw in there of him literally crying. I don't know. And Eric DaCosta, his beaming smile himself. And it's nice to see these things because you see how meaningful a Pro Bowl is to these guys. Okay. They're saying to you, fans, coaches, and players are saying to you that we recognize you as the elite of the wide receivers in this conference. And now the guys that actually make it and who actually travel aren't necessarily the most elite because you get alternates, people are going to the Super Bowl, all of that. But you were voted in as a first team Pro Bowl. And so, for us, it's like, oh, cool, he made the Pro Bowl. No, it is absolutely meaningful to them. And this is a guy that has made it to the league. He's made millions. He's going to make millions more. And I've made this prediction before, and I'll say it again right now. The Ravens have never paid big money to a wide receiver. Partially, it's because they like to pay homegrown players. And they've never had a homegrown Pro Bowl wide receiver. So if it is ever going to happen that the Ravens actually pay top dollar, and it doesn't even have to be like the most of any receiver out there, but say top 10, top 5. It's never happened. If it's ever going to happen, it would be with Zay Flowers if he continues on his trajectory.
Could see that. Could absolutely see it. And there's going to be a couple more guys, by the way, that I referenced earlier on. A couple of the third-year players that are going to be in line for some significant paydays as well. We'll get to that in just a second. Zay was hardly the only one. We mentioned it in that opening slide. 9 total led the way across the league for the Ravens. It's their most since 2019 when they had 13. They had 13 players back in 2019. This year, Lamar, Kyle Hamilton, King Henry, Patrick Ricard getting in as a fullback, Roquan Smith, Zay Flowers, Marlon Humphrey, Tyler Linderbaum, and Nnamdi Madubuike sneaks his way in there, even though it's been somewhat of a up and down season for him. So that's the list of 9.
I would say it's been more quiet than up and down.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
He's had some flat. Well, I guess what I mean by that is I felt like he's had some flashes in terms of stuff that impact that doesn't necessarily show up. But yeah, not exactly
that's why I say quiet.
Season for him.
Right. Not a splash season like he had last year. And so people are keying in on him, and then you see success that other guys are having, like Kyle Van Noy or Travis Jones, who's just a beast in his own right. But it's certainly not the splash season. But I think the respect from his opponents is clearly shining through with this vote.
There's a lot of respect for these two guys right here, not just league wide, but internally as well. And you expect them to be paid like it in the coming months, perhaps. Brian McFarland, Ravens salary cap analyst, noting a few things here. It's the second Pro Bowl selection for both Tyler Linderbaum and Kyle Hamilton. The second, of course, in 3 years. This will push both of their fifth-year options, which is 2026, to the 2025 franchise tag level. These would be approximately $20 million and $25 million, respectively. Both will be eligible for long-term extensions after Saturday night. And Sarah, you'd have to think that once the offseason hits, that's got to be a top Eric's priority list.
Okay, so yeah. 20 million and 25 million. That's for 2026. So they get one more year. So next year the Ravens still got them on their rookie contracts. These are guys that I don't know. I don't think you put them on their 5th year. You know what I mean? They're guys that you want to sign.
You want them there for as long as their career, as long as their prime as you can possibly get them at. And they are worthy. Both of these guys are worthy of extensions. They've earned extensions.
I'd especially say that I would not want to put the 5th year franchise tag to the franchise tag level. Yeah, I wouldn't want to use that on a center. You know what I mean? I don't that's a lot of money for a center. So I would try to sign him sooner than later. And the same with safety. Like, here's what's crazy is like both these guys are going to make money, but they're at least at positions that aren't like wide receiver or pass rusher or whatever that are the most expensive. So to me, it makes sense to try to lock up both before you even have to talk about, fifth-year options and stuff like that.
Yep. Now, alternates. There were some alternates as well. And how about the guy on the screen? Number 77 found his way in as a Pro Bowl alternate. So the guys that you see on the screen listed by Jeff still have a chance to actually play or take part in the Pro Bowl itself, the weekend, the Pro Bowl games in Orlando. But Daniel Fa'alele, Sarah, the much talked about, much dissected player from really all year long, but especially the offseason, finds his way in as a Pro Bowl alternate, as did Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, Chris Board for special teams, Kyle Van Noy, Nick Moore, long snapper, and Justin Tucker. Those are this year's alternates that still have a chance in the coming weeks to end up in the games one way or the other.
This one is unreal. Absolutely unreal. And I would have to be the first to give some apologies to Fa'alele. Now, this doesn't mean that he's like, all pro, next level Marshall Yanda type dude. But I, for one, have definitely been like, why are we doing this? Right? We did it in training camp. We did it in the beginning. We certainly did it after the Raiders, all that kind of stuff. And so he's an alternate. And so here are the three guys that beat him in the AFC in terms of offensive guard. Quentin Nelson, he's like a shoo-in almost every year. Joe Tooney for the Chiefs, and then Trey Smith for the Chiefs. Dang, Chiefs have two Pro Bowlers along the offensive line, but they've got serious problems at the tackle position. So, the fact that he's even an alternate is mind-blowing based off of where we came from. Because Bobby, listen, if this was like, say, like a Quentin Nelson, and Quentin was like falling off or something, right? It's somebody who's just like a perpetual Pro Bowler, but maybe not playing as well as they used to. It's like, well, of course he got it because he's a name. Daniel Fa'alele didn't get voted in because of fans, I'll tell you that much. Right? Like Ravens fans weren't running over there and saying, ooh, Daniel Fa'alele. And there were no other fans, especially guards. There's no other fans saying, ooh, let's vote in Daniel Fa'alele. So this isn't a fan vote. And this isn't he's been doing it forever. He hasn't been playing well, but he's a name. He's not a name vote. This is a straight up player and coach's vote. So that makes me say, okay, I got to take a step back and give some apologies out to Daniel Fa'alele and the Ravens coaches who stuck with him. Now, again, does that mean he's like perfect, doesn't need to improve? All that, of course he does. But I still remember before he left us, Coach D saying this would be quite a coup if we were able to successfully transition him from tackle to guard. And they've done it successfully enough to where today we're talking about him as an alternate Pro Bowl vote, which surely came from the players and coaches who oppose him.
How about it? Turn of events. So good for him. I mean, good for him. I think a lot of us probably would echo your sentiments in terms of having to eat words a little bit, or at least offer an apology because of just how much was said and written and talked about leading up to this season. And of course, he has had some tough moments this year, but he is a Pro Bowl alternate along with the guys that you see up on the screen right now. Now, a small little note here from a former NFL agent, Joe Corey. He's now a CBS analyst. He says that players must be selected on the original ballot for Pro Bowl incentives and escalators. That's typically how these clauses are written. Being an alternate or replacement player doesn't qualify. So again, kind of an in the weeds contractual note here, Sarah, but something that's relevant or became relevant to Ronnie Stanley in the worst of ways if you're looking at it from his perspective. And again, more context here to this year's contract and the clauses that are written in, tallied up by Brian McFarland here. Ronnie Stanley will earn, and this was prior, this was prior to the Pro Bowl announcement, I should say. He will earn with 85% of snaps, and he already hit that, $7.5 million if elected to the Pro Bowl on the original ballot. So he is missing out on a $7.5 million bump because of being named an alternate rather than on the original ballot. So just keep that in mind there. Just a small little contractual nugget that I'm sure Ronnie is kicking himself about today.
Seriously. But what a comeback for him. What a
I
comeback
was
for
going to say,
him.
he's probably going to be an extension candidate as well. If you're looking at it on the bright side,
Right.
he doesn't get that $7.5 million, but hopefully, just a few months ago, it was, what's his future? And now I think his future is pretty certain that if the Ravens feel like he's a part of their future, you got to think that he's a candidate to be extended in the coming months.
Man, to be an alternate and just be that close, 85% if elected to the Pro Bowl, original ballot, like they made that very clear. It needs
Yep.
to be original ballot. That is too tough. That's too bad. That is too bad, but come back here. He's gonna make more money. He took quite the pay cut, and he was fighting for that. So that's too bad. I don't know what other slides you have on here, Bobby. I just had
We got
two other notes. One more. Okay.
video. And
Oh
of
yeah,
course,
this is funny.
this is in comparison. You got to put this one up against what we just listened to and watched with screenshots earlier in the episode of Zay learning of his Pro Bowl honor. Well, what about a guy who's got a few of them throughout his illustrious career? That is Derrick Henry, who also made the visit to Eric DeCosta's office and went a little bit different, a little bit more business-like, let's say.
What's up?
Whatever.
You good?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you made the Pro Bowl. First team starter.
Bet. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I mean, I'm sure after the season you had, it's expected, but we got bigger things to do, obviously.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
We had 9 guys make it.
Damn.
I know. Zay Flowers, first time.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why he came out here.
Yeah, first time. Kyle Hamilton, you, Marlon, Lamar, Tyler Linderbaum, Matabike, Ricard, Roquan as a starter. But what I think is cool, which I can't wait to tell this dude, Falele made it as an alternate. But just that alone, you know what I'm saying?
That was up.
I know, I'm excited to tell him, because that's
Yeah,
going to
that was
give
up.
him so much more confidence.
Hell yeah.
And Ronnie made it, Stanley made it as a first team alternate.
Damn, that was up.
So I'm fired up
Yeah.
about that,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so appreciate it, man. All right, thanks.
Man,
What's up?
Let's
he
go
couldn't
back
get
to
out
that.
of there soon enough. He couldn't get out of there. Like, he's had enough Pro Bowls, right? That he's like, been there, done that. Let me move forward and just try to get this Super Bowl. I came here to try to get a chip, But like, it's the difference in getting your first one, knowing that you've arrived to that level versus I've been on this level and I need to reach another one. Like, he was like, all right, cool. And then he was like more excited for the guys when he names all the other 8. You know what I mean? Like, he was just like, all right, can I go back? I need to go eat some kale or something, EDC.
I think is excited to just be a part of these video production processes. This dude on the
Yeah.
screen. This guy right here. I mean, how about
Yeah.
the face, the smirk? He loves being this
He
like
loves
father-like kind of role. And I'm sure he's Ravens Productions' best friend, Sarah, because whether it's with the draft-related content or, training camp stuff, whatever it is that gives us fans, us people on the outside a look in. He's so good at it. He comes across as so natural.
Yeah, well, he is a natural. He's about as genuine as it gets. EDC and the scouts, there's nobody more paranoid about information getting out than those guys. And I can say that as somebody who works in the media department there for quite some time. And, they were always like, whoa, don't put that out. Oh, don't put that out. But this was like an easy job. It's like, all right. He's like, bring the cameras up. Let's go. Let's bring these cameras up and let's share this good news. That like, I just don't know who enjoyed it more. I know he enjoyed it more than Derrick Henry. I don't know who enjoyed it more between him and Zay, but oh yeah, that smirk. He's like, let's bring up all 9. I'm sure he would have loved all 9.
Shall we tell everybody about Manta Sleep, get some super chats, and then on to Emmanuel Acho's latest case after your 2 extra nuggets?
There you go. Just 2 extra nuggets. Number 1, when we talk about snubs, I think Kyle Van Noy's got to be one of them, right? He is, let me make sure I got this. He's number 4 in the league in sacks. It just so happens that the three in front of him are also all AFC players, but a couple are defensive ends. So the guys who got in ahead of him at outside linebacker were Nick Bonito over at the Denver Broncos, TJ Watt, and Khalil Mack. Now, Kyle Van Noy, listen, I know it's not only about sacks, but just to point this out, Kyle Van Noy is tied with TJ Watt in sacks, which is crazy. I guarantee you, TJ Watt is making a lot more money than Kyle Van Noy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And now again, like I said, I feel like Kyle Van Noy does benefit a little bit from the interior guys, but I mean, he's balling out. He's also tied with Nick Bonito. And then where's Khalil Mack? Khalil Mack, where are you, bro? Going down. Okay, I might have to do a search. Am I missing him? No, he's far down there. He's got 6.
Yeah.
I mean, Khalil Mack, we know who he is. Now, I haven't paid much attention. We're obviously paying much more attention to the MVP race. So, but did he get in on a name? I don't know. I haven't watched his season. You know, Chargers fans could probably tell me. But when you have double the sacks,
I know the Ravens kept him in check on that Chargers game.
Yeah.
For sure. But
yeah.
This kind of reminds me of what Kyle has talked about in recent years. You know, being overlooked a little bit, whether it was now by, you know, the fans or his peers or however this vote ended up kind of hurting him, or by general managers across the league, you know, because it was just 2 years ago that he was written off by a lot. And he's been really on the record and outspoken about how much that's meant to him, how much motivation that has given him. And he's come out and completely resurrected his career over the last 2 seasons. What is it, 29 and a half sacks over the last 2 years?
Unreal.
So he's been a high impact player for them. I think he brings a lot just internally based on his experience as a multi-time Super Bowl winner with Tom Brady and the Patriots. And he's just one of those glue guys that's having a stellar year. And as you said, top 5 in sacks at age 33 is certainly something to hang your hat on.
Top four. And I will say this. I just looked up on Spot Rack. Kyle Van Noy is the 68th highest paid outside linebacker in the league. 68th. Yeah. Khalil Mack up there at 37. TJ Watt, number 3.
Yeah.
It's bananas. Yep. And then I'll just also just say this. A lot of people are like, I'm not apologizing to Fa'alele, especially someone were like, you know, at the time he deserved the criticism. And I don't apologize for when we broke down tape and showed how poorly he played. What I'm saying is I lost hope and faith in him. You know what I mean? It's one thing to be like criticize, hey, this was a bad game. This was a bad snap. This is a bad block. This is, you know what I mean? Like that I don't apologize about. But I didn't have faith in him. There's no way I thought that this could happen. For that I have to apologize because he's here.
I love it. Love it. We also love Manta Sleep for the continued support that they give us as one of our long-standing brand sponsors, and you guys could love it as well here, kickstarting 2025 with better sleep. You see the Manta Sleep Mask Pro on the screen. It gives you a number of different things built in, like 100% blackout for a deeper sleep. You've got C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort. You've got zero pressure that's applied to your eyelids or lashes, advanced materials and ventilation for unmatched breathability. If you go to mantasleep.com, you'll find the Manta Sleep Mask Pro, again, as you see on the screen. You'll also find a number of other options as well, and I'll go to the screen share feature here briefly. The Sound Mask with the built-in Bluetooth feature, the Pro Mask, which is what you're seeing on the screen, or what we just showed you on the screen, and then a couple of the OG ones as well. The Silk and the Sleep Masks, all are great. I know I use the Manta Sleep Mask Pro religiously, whether I'm on the road, like I am right now, still in upstate New York, to answer Zone's question. I'll be back down for the Ravens-Browns regular season finale this weekend. But if you find something you like, guys, at checkout, use our discount code. That's VAULT10, VAULT10. That'll get you 10% off your next purchase. You'll be helping yourself there for a little bit of wallet help and obviously assisting us with our brand partnership. So special thanks to Manta Sleep for the continued support. They're back on to Kickstart 2025. and we are back rolling with you. Let's get to some super chats. Captain Hard writes, using fan voting Pro Bowl against Lamar now. LOL. Congrats to everyone who made it. Sod Blitz 34.
Wait, Lamar Jackson ended up finishing 5th in fan voting.
I don't know what he meant by that, which is why I just kept moving.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate you, Captain. You can clarify if you'd like in the chat, and we'll.
Am I reading this one? Sorry, are we going alternate here?
Heck yeah.
Okay. Heck yeah. Pointing out that Lamar and Allen had the same number of Pro Bowlers, and Bills fans said it means nothing. And now today they say it means everything.
Well, maybe it was in reference
Did they
to
have
that.
the same number last year or something?
Not sure. Thor out in Iceland
boy.
says Bobby Bootymore wears turtleneck to hide hickeys. No hickeys.
He was on the show yesterday without a turtleneck.
No hickeys.
Come on, Thor.
Good. Captain Hard says KVN's a snub, which was what we just discussed. And Jemmy 93.
We all agree that KVN and Beaks should have switched spots. I don't agree with that. Just add KVN.
Julian Chambers says it's
He's gonna
sad.
take it away from Beaks for, man. Don't take it away from him. Come on now.
It's sad that AB tried to ruin the moment on X by saying Brian Thomas from the Jaguars should have been in instead of Zay. He quote tweeted the video. Congrats, Zay. You deserve it. Let's get that ring. Did Ladd McConkey get in? That's somebody that's having a heck of a year. Ladd McConkey is having really a standout year for the Chargers, but I hadn't actually seen that, Julian, until you just mentioned it now. I think Ladd was snubbed as well. Antonio Brown.
Oh, well, whatever. Ladd McConkey did not make it. It was Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, Nico Collins, and Zay.
That might be the biggest snub of them all because
who would you take out? Who would you take out?
I know he's a rookie. So list them off again.
Jamar, Jerry Jeudy, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers.
I wonder how Ladd's numbers compare to Zay's. But that's a tough list. There's nobody that just jumps off the page at you that would be an easy replacement aside from Zay, and I don't want to take anything away from Zay. Certainly. Charisma writes.
I'm going to look it up. Keep reading for me if you don't mind.
Ladd's numbers, so you're going to compare them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Charisma says EDC might as well have 5 Brinks trucks pull up to one winning drive for K-Ham. He has to stay a Raven. Yeah, there's no question that's atop the priority list as soon as he becomes eligible. Voldegard says, I might be a little late, but do you think they'll use this against Lamar, saying he's playing with more Pro Bowlers than Josh and
it's already
Patrick?
Happening.
So he's supposed to win the Super Bowl and also not get the MVP. That's definitely been happening. It's been happening with Derrick Henry all along, all throughout his candidacy. And we've often talked about the one-way street, right? Like Lamar means everything for Derrick. Why can't that not be the same vice versa? King 95 says all pro is elite of elite, not Pro Bowl, which is true. But there is a sign of respect there because there is a part of the peer voting.
I would say if we're going to get, I mean, I hear what he's saying. Like if, to me, I see all NFL players as elite. Like the fact that you made it to the league means that you're like an elite professional. So that's why I said elite of elite. But obviously there's another level with all pro, and then there's another level with DPOY, OPOY, and MVP. So let's say all pro is elite of the elite of the elite.
There you go. Extend it.
We'll add another elite for MVP.
When in doubt, extend it. And there's nothing they can say. Were you able to find Ladd's numbers?
Yeah. So Ladd, among the Pro Bowlers that were selected, there's Nico Collins is number 22 in terms of just straight up receiving yards. So he's got 968, which ranks number 22. Now we should probably look at yards per catch, which I wonder if, I've got yards per game here. I might have to go elsewhere. Oh, here's the average. Anyway, so Nico, if you were going to take somebody off based off of receiving yards, it'd be Nico. But Ladd does inch out Zay Flowers. Ladd is at 1,054. Zay's 1,047. Let's look at their touchdowns. Ladd has 7 touchdowns. Zay has 4. Let's look at average yards. Zay is 14.3, which is more than Ladd at 13.7. So Ladd has 77 receptions. I mean, Zay and Ladd are right next to each other. I mean, almost in everything except Ladd has more touchdowns. Obviously, Jamar is going to stay on there. Jerry Judy's number 6 in the league, but also with just 4 touchdowns. I mean, there's a ton of dudes on here. But I would say if you were going to take somebody off, it would probably be Nico.
Some people were asking about Jerry Judy just because probably, Cleveland's in disarray. But Jerry's
Well, the fact that he's got almost 1,200 yards with 4 different, maybe the 4th quarterback starting this week.
Yeah.
Says
13.9 per reception as well is awfully nice. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's that. Side Blitz 34. Let you take this one.
You guys think local media hurt Marlowe by focusing on Lamar MVP talk instead of promoting Marlowe for Depoy? His stats and cover grades are better than Pat Surtain. Do I think local media hurt him by focusing on Lamar? No, you can always focus on 2 things at once. But that being said, could local media have been pushing it more? Sure.
Let's see. Dre Dog 679 says, we must take a moment to truly appreciate this legendary roster. Let's just hope we can get a Super Bowl out of this. Coaching, don't you know what this up? Captain Hard coming back through.
KVN being an alternate as a special teamer and not a defensive end is even a worse snub. Well, he's an outside linebacker.
There's one way to get me open up. Super chats. Sea King, King of the Seas, says, how'd the date go, Bobby? Lady Killer, Lady Killer. We had a great time in Syracuse. Appreciate you asking. Voldegard.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they'll give Joe the all-pro nod over Lamar? Because they're definitely putting Josh, I feel. I don't think so. Listen, I played this yesterday, and this is obviously he was talking about MVP, and you weren't here for it, Bobby, but maybe you were listening from the car. But Joe was like saying for MVP, like, I'm not going to get it. And they said, why? He said, because you usually have to win the division to win it. And they said, well, do you think that's outdated? And he's like, I probably don't disagree with it. I would put all pro maybe in there. I just have a hard time like celebrating losing. So
we'll see. 2 all pro. Two quarterbacks will be named all pro. Last year it was let's see, who was it last year? Lamar was first team. Dak Prescott was second team.
Okay.
There you have it. Let's see. OG Pearl, you got to do this one.
Whoa, dummy. We see you, Bobby Boo Lovin'. Hashtag ring season.
Abdul writes, when did the MVP become a, quote, do more with less award? Also, they have to stop with the Cleveland and Las Vegas losses. No one thinks they are better than us. Those were any given Sunday losses. Knock it off. And by any given Sunday, self-inflicting losses. That's exactly what they were. Yo-Jitsu.
Let's go. 9 of our guys and the first homegrown wide receiver. Hashtag win. Just win, baby.
Appreciate you guys. 17 super chat donations so far today. Over 3,000 of you concurrently watching this afternoon. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content. We will have another show, of course, on Friday. We're still efforting to get a Browns guest for this regular season finale, which, of course, is Saturday at 4:30. Make sure your calendars are marked accordingly for that. So, partner Emmanuel Acho, you guys have become Twitter buddies for sure. But what you found as of this morning is that he has a latest case that goes against Lamar's candidacy. What did that look like and sound like?
We have got to get him on this show. Look, if he wants to vote for Josh, vote for Josh. Fine. You got the MVP vote. Same with Dan Orlovsky. But these 2 guys have got to stop giving us lame, terrible reasons for it. Okay? You got to stop. And with Dan, he was reaching with the wide receiver separation. And now Acho is reaching. So let me just explain how the segment went down. It's a very typical segment of who has the better case for MVP. James Jones has been consistent with Lamar. He flashes up the stats and is showing that Lamar's got all the better stats minus the team record. And frankly, it's not even close when it comes to the total yards. The The pass touchdown to interception ratio is what he flashed. Not even close. Lamar 39-4, Josh Allen 28-6. And listen, rushing touchdowns obviously count. Josh has 12, but half of those are from the 1 yard line. He's adopted the tush push. If we just wanted to do those stats, I mean, I'm sure we could just push Lamar in from the 1 yard line if we wanted to. Passer rating, obviously not close. And then James Jones points out, we've been pointing out that Lamar is number 2 right now in the history of the NFL with the single season passer rating. And if he gets over 131.6, is that what you had? Something like that?
38.6.
138.6, which he's done 4 times this year. If he does that, then he'll take the number 1 spot. And so then comes Acho. Woo, I got to tweet back at him. You know what? Maybe we'll do that here. Listen.
You can do a live tweet?
Yes, I will do a live tweet.
Okay.
Listen, let me just say this before I play it. The MVP is obviously some sort of combination every year on individual stats, team record, MVP moments, the supporting cast, and a narrative, right? And so to me, where you start baseline is individual stats. Then you got to add in a record because you can't be a losing team. And if you're number 1 seed, that helps. Your seeding helps, but Lamar's going to likely finish 1 seed behind Josh. So I don't think being a 2 seed overcomes being a 3 seed, especially when you look at the Ravens' strength of schedule and how much way more difficult it was for them. So anyway, my point is it's like a combination, but you start with the stats and you have to have a very compelling reason to say, okay, I'm not going with stats this year. Very compelling. And I thought Lamar had a compelling reason last year because, Bobby, it's not that he just has better stats than him, because it's that it's historic stats that we're talking about. We're talking transformative stats, not just that he'll finish with 5,000 yards, but that just over 4,000 will be passing and just under 1,000 will be rushing. And that this quarterback who's known for running is about to beat Aaron Rodgers or has a chance to at being the best all time. It's not that he just has better stats. It's transformative stats. And so now you got to put together a case to say why something else matters more than transformative stats within this single season. I'm not talking about career stats within the season. So this is what Acho comes up with. This is what overcomes his stats.
Appreciate it. Lamar has a better case for people who consume stats first and film second. Josh Allen has a better case for people who consume film first and stats second. I say it like this because when I've sat in any defensive meeting room I've ever sat at the collegiate level or the NFL level, sat with several brilliant minds, much more brilliant than myself, I have never had a defensive coordinator bring up a player's passer rating in a defensive meeting. I've never had a coach or defensive coordinator bring up how many touchdowns a player has thrown, nor a coach bring up how many interceptions a player has thrown. A coach in every meeting I've ever sat in, which is how I consume the game of football, they just turn on the tape. So when you just turn on the tape, Josh Allen has a better case because when you turn on the tape, you see where Josh Allen is doing it and you see whom he's doing it with. But if you look at the numbers first, Lamar has a better case. Lamar got better numbers than Josh Allen, and Lamar beat Josh Allen head to head. But then when you go back and you turn on the tape, you see, wait, Josh Allen has a 7-yard receiving touchdown? How'd that happen? That must have been like an easy Philly type play. No. He threw an out route to Amari Cooper. He saw Amari Cooper getting tackled by 3 individuals, and his natural intuition and instincts kicked in. And in the snow against the Niners defense, he runs over, catches the pitch, and scores. The film tells you more of a conclusive and holistic story than just the numbers do.
Okay, that's the first part, and I'm going to rip that to shreds on the other side. Okay, but I cannot believe we're here where somebody's saying put on Lamar's tape and you're going to see he's not the best player on the field every single game. How are we here? Okay.
We make things important because we can measure them. We don't measure them because they're important. So when I think about passing yards, I think passing yards is the most irrelevant statistic in the history of the world. It's the most irrelevant. Oftentimes, people with the most passing yards in a season, right? I'm talking micro, I'm not talking macro. People with the most passing yards in a season, the team sucks. They're always trailing, so they always have to pass. Joe Burrow, his team, if they were winning, he wouldn't be leading the league in passing yards because they'd be ahead. James, what's passer rating conclude with? I don't even know. It's some amalgamation of touchdowns plus interceptions plus yards plus completions.
He doesn't know, but he just named them all. What are we doing here? Ugh.
Y'all don't know. You don't know. It's like meatloaf. I don't know what's in it.
You're completing them passes.
Sure, but we made passer rating important, but nobody knew. The layman person cannot even tell you what passer rating is comprised of. But we just sit here and throw it out there. I'm not even saying it's wrong, because it's impressive to be on a list with Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But we just make things important because we can measure them.
What film you watching? The film we watching is probably they beat the number 1 seed Chiefs. Okay. And then they beat the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Lions. So on the road. Because all I'm saying, the film when you turn on with Lamar Jackson, he looked like Superman in the wins and the losses. If you turn on the tape when they played head to head, they don't even look like they're in the same planet. And we know that Josh Allen's in the same planet as Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying that Josh is special, but when you turn that tape on, you're gonna see the best player on the field is 8. What about not 17? What about the Raiders?
Okay.
What tape you watching? Well, Sarah, should we? I know you want to get in here. Should we play James from a week ago though first?
Sure.
You sure?
Talking about tape,
you
right?
Sure?
Talking about tape.
You sure you can wait?
I can wait.
All right. Yeah. So well, just because I wanted to get it in because one of his claims here is that if like the tape doesn't necessarily match up against Josh's, correct? Is that's sort of
much it?
what
He's
he's
saying that Lamar has the stats, but Josh Allen has the tape.
Well, James just a week ago, and you just heard it there at the end too, saying Superman. I mean, he expanded on what Superman looks like. I think that this was after the Texans game.
I want to start off by saying, Mr. MVP voter, good luck. Because
That's so true.
this is, no, for real though, because this is the closest that it's been really probably since Barry Sanders and Brett Favre have been co-MVPs. Wow. It is really, really hard to vote on an MVP because Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson, to me, is the MVP frontrunner. And forget the stats, because if you look at these stats, Lamar only threw the ball 15 times, 168 yards, had 1 rush. If you watch the game,
There you go.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson looked like he is on a totally different planet than pro NFL athletes, the best athletes in the world. He looks like he's on a totally different planet playing the game of football. He is the MVP frontrunner, in my humble opinion. He's making everybody around him better. And I know people want to say, well, he has this, he has that. Lamar Jackson on the football field, there's not a game he walks off the football field where we don't say 8 is the best player. There is not a game that we say that. Lamar Jackson is the best player every time he steps on the field. In my humble opinion, he's the best player in the world right now playing the game of football. He's the MVP frontrunner, in my humble opinion. Good luck, Acho, and all them MVP voters.
That's crazy.
But if you watch the game with your eyes, you're walking out of that game like this dude is something else.
Just some other perspective, food for thought.
Right. Well, James does a pretty good job. I mean, this is before he even brought it up. Like you said, you brought this back from a week ago, where he's like, he literally says, forget the stats, because again, this is what's crazy is he has the better stats, but he just named the stat line from that game. And it was insane. And both Lamar and Josh have sat early because the games are out of reach. Right. And so you have all of that. I mean, there was somebody else in the Bills fans. I don't know if Acho took it from them, but there was like a Bills fan or reporter or somebody who was like, show me better tape than this. And again, that's not to say that Josh Allen doesn't have good tape. I think that James Jones said it well, that, they've both played like Superman at times, but how you can just straight up say, if you turn on the tape, yeah, he pointed out the one where Amari Cooper flips it back to him and he runs it in, and that was a sensational play. But I can match any highlight you want to pull up. Like, we'll match it. Like, what do you want me to bring out? You want me to bring out the Isaiah Likely touchdown throw from last week where he's toying with Will Anderson Jr., one of the best?
Daniil.
He's toying with them.
Even better.
Just like toying with them. And half of his receivers had gone out of bounds, stepped out of bounds, so they're no longer eligible. And Lamar extends the play, throws it to him, has the 3-pointer walking away before he even sees it is completed. I mean, we could do this all day long. How about his 48-yard touchdown run? Is that not more impressive than the tush pushes from the 1-yard line?
It's the ragdoll Cincinnati game for me.
Yes. I mean, we could just, oh my gosh. We have copyright issues, but like every highlight you want to show me with Josh, I will counter it with Lamar. Here's the other thing. Acho hasn't responded a couple weeks ago or last week. It's all a blur to me now. But when he's trying to make a case, they're always trying to make a case for Derrick Henry, and they put out his yards. But I sent Acho tape of how Pittsburgh Steelers were clearly more worried about Lamar Jackson than stopping Derrick Henry. How many lanes were open? The great TJ Watt worried about Lamar more than Derrick Henry and opening up lanes for him. There's the tape. Where's the response on that? There's the tape. And this, how about this? Oh, I've got more. There's 2 more points I want to make. Sorry, Bobby. I'm getting on my soapbox.
You're good.
Okay. How about the fact that he said here we're talking about the history of passer rating, and everybody understands how absolutely incredible it is, especially from a quarterback who has rushed for 852 yards. And you're going to try to downplay it by saying nobody knows what it is? What do you mean nobody knows what it is? You just named it. It's like, can everybody calculate it? I've never even needed to try. Like, I don't know the actual, like, how they put numbers to this one and that one and this one. But, like, where people
it's universally recognized.
It's universally recognized that it's a calculation that uses attempts, completions, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and interceptions. So it puts those 5 things together and gives you a score on that. And then he tries to act like that's not important. He kept saying, like, we make things important because we can measure them, not because they're important. What are you talking about? They came up with this passer rating because it's important to know a complete game from a quarterback based off of his attempts, completions, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and interceptions. Well, are those things not important to a quarterback? Is that really the case we're coming up with now? We're trying to pretend because a layman fan can't calculate it mathematically. So what? We know what it calculates. But what are we doing here? And then the best one, Bobby, here we go. The best one. I'm saving this one for last because this is so easily refutable. He says, I've never been into a meeting where a defensive coordinator says, oh, he has 121 passer rating. They just flip on the tape. Okay, that's probably true. And again, we've discussed tape. But who's the common opponent these two teams have had? Who's the common opponent?
Buffalo
Houston Texans. Yeah. Houston Texans, correct? Houston Texans.
It's Houston, it's Kansas City, it's who else has been on Buffalo's schedule? At least those two. 2 playoff teams are Houston and Kansas City.
Okay. Well, how about this? So you have about two common guys, and I don't know if Andy Reid, who's an offensive coordinator, I don't know if Spags was asked the MVP question, but I know D'Amico Ryan, who's a defensive coach, had to play both quarterbacks, and he's flipped on the tape. And what's his conclusion?
The football, I think Lamar is playing some of the best football he's played. Like, he's definitely jumps off the tape as the best player I've seen this year. Talk about an MVP.
I'm sorry. He what? He jumps off of what?
Well, what's notable about this is that this was prior to what Lamar did to his team. Okay? Just to be clear, this was prior to Christmas. What do you think he's saying after Christmas, Sarah?
Exactly. Because he beat Josh Allen and he got demolished by Lamar Jackson. But did he say that Lamar jumps off the stat sheet to him? What? No. I'm sorry. What did you say? He jumps off of what?
Jumps off the tape is.
Oh, he jumps off the tape. Here's what I'm trying to say.
Like, he's definitely jumps off the tape as.
Would you like to continue listening to him?
The common opponent. A defensive coordinator is the head coach. Lamar jumps off the tape as the best player, and he already beat Josh Allen. What are we doing here? Yes, we can listen to the rest of it.
The best player I've seen this year. Talk about MVP. He's definitely the MVP in my mind, just for what he's doing, not only run game wise, but throwing the football, the accuracy, the decision making. Like, he's playing unbelievable ball right now. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for us this week.
He really tried to say that we're going to overlook the stats. And again, there are some cases where it's like, okay, yes, the stats are the baseline, but here's a legitimate reason why this is more important than just the stats. No, they are transformative, historic stats. And to pretend that defensive coordinators aren't worried about him, and then the common opponent says he jumps off the tape, not the stat sheet, it's over. It's over. KO. If you want to vote for Josh, you do it because you got an MVP vote and I don't. But let's be real. Let's not pretend that Lamar Jackson doesn't have the tape.
I think Todd Monken would be on your side for sure. He spoke about Lamar a number of different ways yesterday during coordinator press conferences.
Unbelievable playmaker, wants to be coached, wants to be great, and he's about as humble as you could ever ask for a star player. I mean, super humble. That's why his teammates love him, because he works hard and he's humble and owns it.
Todd Monken talking about Lamar's humility there. Quote, "It's been amazing. It's a credit to him and the work that he's put in. He wants to be great. He's about as humble as you can ask for from a superstar."
You got a humble superstar. I love it. And we all know that. We all know that. We've seen it in front of the cameras. But but you definitely get a feeling behind the scenes he is too. You got the offensive coordinator talking about his humility. I remember years ago, one of my favorite quotes ever was Mark Viviano, asking Lamar what keeps him grounded, what keeps him humble. And he said it was God. Like, he will never put himself above God. He realizes the blessings that he has, the people that he has around him, the teammates that he has, the coach. Like, he will never, ever, ever put himself above them. At least I've never seen him do it. And then you've got players being like, "Hey, come out with us." He's like, "Nah, I just want to go home." He's not looking to be in the limelight. He's like one of the most impossible guys to get to interview, because he doesn't want the limelight. Like, he just wants to play ball. That's all he wants to do. He wants to play ball.
You know who was playing ball on Christmas Day was our Darius Washington, who's having a stellar year for Zach Orr's defense. And Z.O. thought he was playing ball as well in game when he went flying out of the frame after our Darius made a big play defensively on Joe Mixon, Sarah. And you know he was going to be asked about it yesterday, right? You put this together. Anything you want to say before we toss to it?
No, I'm tweeting to Acho right now. You set it up. You got it.
Did he respond to you?
I'm literally tweeting him right now.
Oh,
how should I say it?
Okay, you never.
Because remember, the way we left it off, I haven't pressed send yet. The way we left it off is he said, "What's the name of the pod?" Because remember, he heard about the pod because he saw my hit with Kay Adams,
which was fantastic.
Thank you, sir. By the way, I just noticed last night, because I was looking for content, they put my full interview up on YouTube. I thought they just had a couple things on Twitter and
on Instagram, which I reposted last night, and a lot of people.
Oh, did they put it on the full interview?
No, just like a best
snippet
of Instagram reel. So I reposted that sucker.
Okay. Oh,
Take a look.
You. Oh.
Look at you two here.
Oh, maybe I should repost it.
Look at you two together on the split screen. This is cool. Ready? Hold on a second.
Let me see this. Oh, that's cool.
Look at you two.
Oh, that's cool. I love Kay.
Absolutely loving that.
Oh, look at that. I definitely got to repost that. I've got I keep my Instagram on lockdown. It's basically family and I'd say long-term friends. I don't even have I might have 3 friends from Columbus, and even though I've been here for 5 years, but I keep it on lockdown. But yeah, that'd be fun to repost that one. I don't usually put much Raven stuff on Instagram, but anyway, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, okay, so how should I reply to Acho here? So the last where we left it, he said, "What's the name of the pod?" Because he just heard her say she's got a podcast. And then I, invite him, and he said, "Let me check it out. What's the name of the pod?" He said, "We'll do something." This was 2 days ago. I gave him New Year's Eve and I gave him New Year's Day. He's been working. So Should I say, did you check it out? Did we pass the sniff test? Is that something like that? What should I say?
This is back. You're going back to the same thread.
Yeah, I feel like right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
Seems
in case,
like a good place to do it.
Just in case for whatever reason he forgets, which he's not gonna. But yeah. Did we pass the sniff test?
Okay, Acho. Did we pass the sniff test?
You
Can
write
we
that. I'm gonna share
make
the
this
ZO stuff.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, keep
All right.
going.
Here we go. And I'm gonna do one of those things that allows it to be played and then take you off the screen because I'm realizing there's a highlight of the
Next
Ardarius
to
on
it.
there. So
Yeah.
we'll get creative here for a second. Here it comes.
Even know. Like, I was just so amped up, man. That was like one of the best plays I've seen in recent memory, and I was just so excited, just trying to celebrate and support my guys, and then that ended up happening. So that was just a lot of emotions just being expressed right there.
I didn't even know he did that. Like, we both kind of blacked out. Like, when I talked to him about it, he blacked out, I blacked out. Porter asked me after the game, did you see Zach or anything? I was like, nah, I didn't even see him. So I got back to my phone, and I checked. I said, oh, this is what she was talking about.
Zach, then Ardarius, talking about the since viral moment that became their celebration when ZO literally fell out of the camera frame on Netflix Christmas Day after Ardarius put that hit stick on Mixon. So, and how about ZO propping his guys up? He knows if injuries were not so plaguing to him, he still would have been out there. And I think every once in a while, Sarah, he gets that infusion in him that it feels like he can still be out there. And maybe that was one of those moments.
Yeah, listen, I just love it. I read or played, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but where Ardarius was like, I blacked out, he blacked out. I had no clue it happened. I was like, a reporter asked for it, and he's like, I can't even comment. And then he got back to his phone, and then he sees it, and ZO's like he's like, I just had a lot of energy there. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I just had a lot of energy. I mean, he he was like, it was like he made it all the way up to like his shoulders and his helmets. I mean, he still got it.
Right.
It's just hilarious because it's so true. Like when you get passionate, like for example, that, and I'm nowhere near the passion they are on the field when they're putting their bodies on the line. But like, I don't even know if I could retell you how that segment where we were critiquing Acho's arguments even went, because I was so passionate. Like I'd have to go back and watch it, and that's why I was like, how did I do on Kay Adams? Because I'm so passionate. Like I don't even know how I'm coming across. Like I don't even know what's happening. I'm just so in the thought process that it's like I get it. I've been so amped up before that I don't even realize everything that's going on around me.
You black out every episode.
Just about.
Our definition, your definition of blacking out, which is going off.
Yes.
Love it.
My definition for sure. I've never
Right?
blacked out like that.
Exactly. So some notes from the press conferences, including what you heard there from Todd on Lamar, Zach on Ardarius, and now the injury report from Wednesday. And it is notable, as we talked off the top, Justice Hill is still in concussion protocol. He has not practiced. It's an illness that's keeping him from practicing. He's no longer experiencing concussion symptoms. Just to be clear, Jeff Zrebiec noting that a short while ago. John Harbaugh is at the podium right now, so I believe that's where. Yeah.
Wait,
Okay. So
wait. I'm sorry. He is still in concussion protocol.
no.
Yes. Look,
yes,
Jeff
thank
Zrebiec
you.
1 minute ago,
Thank you.
Harbaugh said Justice Hill is still in concussion protocol
Yes.
because he hasn't. Oh, because he hasn't practiced.
Right. But he's no
it's
longer
an
experiencing.
illness that's keeping him from practicing. Okay.
Yep. So he's no longer experiencing the symptoms, which is important.
Yeah.
But because he hasn't practiced, technically he's still in protocol. He has an illness that's actually keeping him from practicing. And he was the lone absent player today. So this list that you're looking at is a little outdated just because it won't be until 4 p.m. Eastern today that the team releases Thursdays. But it's looking like a clean bill of health, aside from Justice's illness, which hopefully he can overcome.
He must be pretty sick because he's been sick since the beginning of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the injury report.
So only Justice Hill was missing
going into the regular season finale.
Jeez.
And it's not even something injury related. Wow. So if you're looking for something to feel optimistic about entering January, look no further. There's a lot of optimism here. We'll go big screen for this.
Oh, what is this? What is this chart? I'm always here for a chart. I usually bring him in. What you got here?
Oh, I know you are. And I know you'll be here for this one as well, because you can send it to your friend Emmanuel. So FTN took a look at how efficient are quarterbacks after avoiding a sack. I feel like we've had this up in recent weeks, but it's been updated. So sacks avoided, 28, leads the league, and that is a number that is owned by Lamar Jackson. 28 of them. but look how efficient he's been as well while avoiding these sacks. So that's the thing you're looking at. You're looking at escapability, and then once you escape and extend the way that he does generationally, what does he do? Well, he does a lot, and this chart certainly suggests that.
Well, here's what's funny. You told me to send it to Acho, but I'm going to have to send it with tape that shows him avoiding sacks and completing passes. That's what I'll have to do.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, with tape.
Apparently, stats don't do it.
So there
Apparently,
you go.
they don't measure important things.
You are hysterical. You really will. You will. Knowing you'll attach it with this big file compiled with clips and different collages, and you never know how you get going in Canva in your spare time. Look out.
Oh boy, I don't know if I got the time today. We'll
Maybe
see.
not.
We'll see if I find the time.
Another one for you. It's my day to bring in.
Yeah,
charts.
you got the charts all around here. Let's go.
And this is true media. It is the rushing success rate over the explosive run percentage, as they do. This is nice, right? When you're looking at a chart that's complicated, which this one isn't necessarily, but some are. It's nice when you get little footnotes in red.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, this part of the quadrant, right? Quadrant 1
You
is
want to
very
be
steady.
here. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very steady, not explosive. Quadrant 2, bad all around. And so on and so forth. So anyway, the good all around is where the Ravens find themselves actually out there with the Arizona Cardinals in terms of rushing offense, explosive play percentage, and success rate. So again, a Lamar statistic, right? Because I think what he brings to the run game and their overall offense, you can't really truly measure that. But look at where the Ravens are, partner, way out in front.
That is not, yeah. See, and this is what's funny is we don't even need a chart to know this one. I mean, the Ravens, we know that Derrick Henry is having a career rushing success rate this year, which is mind-blowing thinking about his 2020 season when he single-handedly took the Ravens out of the playoff mix in 2019.
Yep.
And yet he's having more success this season. I wonder why that could be at 30 years old.
6 years removed from that, too. Hard to believe. Technically 5. It was 5 years ago this month that the Tennessee Titans came into the divisional round game in Baltimore and thumped them.
Yeah.
Thumped them.
Yeah. By the way, apparently you got your quadrants wrong according to chat. Quadrant 2 is the good all around. You got to go like you're reading a book.
Oh,
you know
yeah. I went
vertically
I went vertically rather than horizontally. Excuse me.
I didn't know. I obviously haven't paid attention to them because they're in the NFC and not big competition. But I didn't realize Cardinals were that good.
Yeah, I don't.
Did you know that?
They're not a playoff team, though, are they?
I don't think so.
Hold on, I don't think they're.
That's how much we don't pay attention to the NFC.
Let's see. I don't believe they are. But let's take a look.
While you're looking that up, top 5 leaders for tackles. There's Roquan, number 5.
How about that? That's why I brought it in.
Yeah.
How about it?
Roquan.
Yeah, they're currently not in the field. Not currently.
Yeah. So they can't pass over there.
Yeah, apparently not.
Apparently, because when you got that good of a running game.
Apparently not. But yeah, how about Rowe being in the top 5? This is.
Get it, Rowe.
Zaire Franklin leads the way in Indianapolis, 165. Budda Baker in Arizona, 155. And Roquan right there, 144 after a year that, of course, early on, there were a lot of questions, but those questions have dwindled, been silenced in recent weeks.
So I wanted to talk about a couple other teams in the AFC. So first of all, U Stadium reporting, and this wouldn't be surprising, but it says barring an unforeseen change with the Jets, they are expected to move on from both Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams after the season. Source tells us the relationship between owner Woody Johnson and Rodgers is irreparable, which is crazy. Now that second part seems a little bit crazy because Woody did anything and everything Aaron asked for. Fired coaches, brought in Davante Adams. Just seemed like whatever Aaron Rodgers wanted, he got. And all that drama for them to finish what? How many wins do they have, Bobby? 4?
Not many, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They're at a point of no return. It's time to rebuild. I think Aaron could be a good bridge quarterback elsewhere. Not sure where
Yeah.
that would be, but
Yeah.
I think he still will play. I'd be shocked if he goes out like this. But if you're in New York, you say it feels like you have to say this every few years with them that it's time for a cleaning of house and rebuild, which is what they're going to be doing both from a head coach perspective and general manager. You know, having let go. Remind me the old Raven Joe.
The
Help me out
old
there,
Raven
Sarah.
that
You were
they
in the
let
building.
go.
You were in the building with him all the time. The
Joe Flacco?
their former GM. He was under
Oh yeah, Joe.
Gosh,
Joe Douglas.
So thank you.
Yes.
Joe Douglas. So they're going to be
I
completely
said Joe
rebuilt.
Flacco.
Yes, you were in the building with him as well. And no, not Joe Ortiz. He's out in there's a lot of Joes apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway, they let Joe Douglas go, and so as you said, Robert Saleh is gone as well, and so you might as well at this point do a complete rebuild. But man, from what could have been with the amount of talent that they have on their roster over the last 2 seasons, what an epic failure. I mean, it's an epic failure.
Yeah.
And of course, last year you couldn't really move on or sustain with Zach Wilson when Aaron went down with his Achilles. And then he kind of was on record within the last week or so saying that he felt like, this year for 75% of the season, it was like an extension of his rehab, meaning like he just could not get fully healthy coming off the Achilles from a year and a half ago now, or a year and a couple months ago. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what he does.
What's your prediction? Does he play next year? Does he start for an NFL team next year?
Yes. Yes,
I agree.
I do believe that.
Okay, now I really wanted to have this conversation. So the Philadelphia Eagles have made the decision to not play Saquon Barkley, who is 101 yards away from breaking the single season all-time rushing record. Now after the game on, I think it was Sunday, but who knows what days everybody played last week. But after his last game, he was like cool with not playing. But yesterday, he sure sounded like he wanted to.
Asked me, what I like to do. We had a conversation, and he called me back, let me know that we're probably going to be resting. And my reaction was kind of like I told my family. Obviously, my family, probably wanted a little bit more than me. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is winning football games and winning the playoffs. So I got a bigger goal in mind anyway.
What was your message to me when you did it?
I mean, he asked me if I wanted to play, if I want to go for it. I said on Sunday, I probably didn't care too much for it. When I slept on it, it was like it was an opportunity to implant my name in football history. May never get another opportunity like that again. So I'm down, but at the end of the day, I don't care for putting the team at risk. He's the head coach for a reason. He makes the decisions, and whatever decision he wanted to make, I let him know if you want me to play, I'm going to go out there and make sure I get it. And if we don't, I'm okay with that too.
Man, what a bummer.
It is a bummer. And I'll have to give him props because he's like putting team first. He's being cool about it, but you can tell he wants to go for it. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You think he cares that everybody outside, maybe in the media, would say that we're in a 17-game era? No, he's caring. He cares about history. He cares about his offensive line. That will be a part of history. He cares about his team. That will be a part of history. I'm sure deep down, maybe, just maybe, it's against his former team in the New York Giants. He would never say publicly. That's got to be something. That's pretty sweet the way that's set up, the way that departure took place last year, and the way the Giants totally botched the end of the Saquon era, much like they did the end of the Eli era. So there's a lot. And you could, with the way the Giants, and I know defensively has not been their issues. They can't put up points offensively, as we all watched a couple weeks ago. But you better believe that they would have sold out in that first half to ensure that he gets the record so he could sit the second half. I don't know if that would have taken place or not, but I was bummed, and you could tell that he's a little bit bummed deep down.
Yeah. Listen, I'll say this. I understand the decision because if he were to play, were to hurt a knee, and then they're going to the playoffs without him, so I understand it. But And it's always hard to say what you would do in somebody else's position if you were there, because you don't have the weight of the decision upon you. You also don't have all the players. You don't have like the Super Bowl run in front of you. So it's easy to say this. So I want to recognize this, but I think I would go for it. I think I would try it for at least a half. Here's the thing. We knew that they weren't going to do it because they sat him last week. Once he hit 2,000, they pulled him out. They could have gotten him even closer. Like if he had played the full game, maybe he would only have 75 yards to go or something like that. We don't know. Yeah. But you knew that that's where they were headed. But so the reason why I also want to talk about this is because we've had these conversations many times before, each time that the Ravens have had the number 1 seed, 2019 and then last year. And it was like, do you rest the starters? Do you not? And we've now been in Baltimore 2 times where they were rested and it didn't really help. You know what I mean? Especially in 2019. If anything, maybe, I don't know, maybe it made them more lethargic. I don't know. I mean, last year they at least won the divisional round and then moved on. So maybe I'm doing it with that background, is that I'm like, well, I don't know that the resting really helped. But listen to this, because all of these coaches have to make these decisions. So somebody on Twitter put together Dan Campbell, Jim Harbaugh, and Bill Belichick talking about whether you rest players. So I think this is very interesting, the points that they have to make.
Only sit 6 guys. So who are all those 6? Well, we can, all right, who are the 6? And then the other guys that don't, was it fair to them that we're not using everything we've got? We flew out here, we prepared this way, we came out to win, and that's ultimately what it came to. And yeah, you do. You cross your fingers, nobody gets hurt. I mean, it's tough.
You know, that's the thing that doesn't resonate right now is, play the backups. Like that what we're going to do? Dress 25 guys, for the game. So,
Jim, that's what some people I think have a hard time with is, well, don't play your starters. Yeah, I mean, you can only have 7 inactive guys. Who are they? And it's tough to go to your team and say, well, we're not going to play you guys over here, but the rest of you get out there. We don't really care about you. If you get hurt, that doesn't matter. But these 6 or 7 guys weren't.
Okay, so they're all basically saying like this is like you gotta play them. Now, I will push back a little bit on what they're saying. I get that you can only rest or deactivate. What is the numbers? 6. But that doesn't actually mean that they're playing. So you can dress them and then not necessarily play them. So I think it's a little bit more nuanced than what they're letting on. But point being, to me, and maybe Sirianni's done this, because if Saquon wants to play, you can't put him out there with like backup offensive linemen, and you can't put him out there with like a backup quarterback in Hurts, because they do the read option too. You also want to put your receivers out there because you actually want to threat by passing. Otherwise, they're just going to key in on Saquon Barkley. And so, to me, it is like a team decision. But I'm also kind of like a personality that's like no guts, no glory. And so to me, as a teammate, I'd be like, look, just so you know, coach, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get Saquon this record. And we've been doing it for 16 games. Let's do it for at least one more half and see if we can get this. I'm ready to go. So it wouldn't just be a Saquon thing. Like you'd have to play all your starters. And I would talk to the team, but I feel like I would go for all the glory. I feel like I would. And again, I'm not the one who has to like be yelled at if Saquon or somebody else were to get hurt.
That's exactly it. Sirianni's the one answering to what would be a mountain, just a mountain of criticism from every which angle. And two, this is it's an in-division game. Say what you want about the Giants. They might come in with the mentality, this isn't happening on our watch. No chance. We're going to be flying to the ball. We're going to be swarming to Saquon Barkley. And if, for God forbid, if something were to happen before a playoff run where they're going to be comfortably sitting as one of the top seeds in the NFC, you can see where Sirianni's coming from. But obviously, we can all see where Saquon Barkley's coming from, and he is as classy as it gets. You had a Twitter exchange recently with Peter Schrager about Lamar's picks.
But real quick, I want to see where the Giants rank in rush defense.
Oh, they're top 15 from what I remember a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but that's the other element. It's like it's his former team that didn't re-sign him. He could do it against them. Oh no. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So listen, I just continue to try to be out there to get as much info as I can out there for Lamar. Peter Schrager writes yesterday, tweets, what is perhaps most impressive about Lamar's MVP caliber season is that he's thrown for 442 passes and only have 4 intercepted. And I wanted to make it even a better case. I don't know that Peter has a vote, does he? Does Peter have a vote? We don't know.
Don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I don't know that he does. But whatever, I want this highlighted even more. So I said, agreed, Peter. What's more impressive is that none were his fault. 3 bounced off the hands of his receivers. In the 4th, the wide receiver didn't finish his route. Now that last one, as people have pointed out, is still in question. Like, was it or was it not? So Peter replies back to me and says, I may do a deep dive on the 4 interceptions on Friday's show. So Bobby, I'm just, I just want to help Peter out with his job. So I went ahead and made sure he saw these. So he doesn't have to go dive too deep and do the work that we've already done.
Hey, I'm sure that was your main motivation, that you wanted to help Peter out with his job for the week. Just take a little bit of something off his plate. That was priority number 1, right?
Like, Peter, I've done the work for you. We're friends here. Just go ahead and do this segment in case you're running out of time. I got you, okay? I got you. So here are the 3 catches that it hit all of his receivers in both hands, not just one. I will say the Mark one is a little bit reaching out. I get it. But still, like, it just deflected off there. And then just to make sure he had it all, I also sent him, where are you? This. Just a slow-mo of it. Like, it's in question, right? But it seems pretty clear to me. Here's Bateman streaking across the middle of the field. Let's put it in slow-mo so we can see. Lamar is putting his arm back to throw, and he's already let it go, and then Bateman stops.
Yep.
But the cornerback continues. So none of them were bad decisions. None of them were just like, oh, that was wildly inaccurate. Like, it seemed pretty clear to me in the slow-mo that Lamar is already releasing, and then Bateman stops. Okay, that's the way it seems to me. No bad decisions, no poor throws. One maybe a miscommunication at best. But here you go, Peter. So we'll have to watch tomorrow. Can the people help us out? Can you guys let us know if you see it tomorrow?
Bateman's drop in the Vegas game was tough. Andrews, if you want to nitpick, I thought Andrews on the opening drive of the Commanders game, you could go both ways. I thought Lamar was a little bit out in front of him. But as you can see here, Mark did his best.
Both hands are on there. I'll tell you this. A receiver will say.
Are they, though? Are they?
What? Are they not?
This is
Are you making
to
the
me,
case his hands are not on the ball?
This looks fingertips.
How do you think it got listen, I'll just say this. If any wide receiver worth his salt, if he were on the show right now, he would say, if the ball touches my hands, I got to catch it.
There's no question. If we're nitpicking, I think this is.
I'd say of the three, that's the most out in front of him. But it's touching both his hands.
Of the 3, Peyton Wilson obviously just made an unbelievable play in the Pittsburgh game the first time around to wrestle that thing from Justice. Bateman was a bona fide drop, and then Bateman, of course, in the second Pittsburgh game, like you just referenced, just stopped mid route. Andrews to me is the one that, if you really wanted to nitpick, you could a little bit.
Right, but if you're looking at it in the context of what Peter's saying, he's like, how many passes was it? 422 passes, 4 interceptions, and of the 4, none of them are a bad decision. None of them are like this wildly inaccurate pass.
Not one of them.
Not a single one.
Super chats. Where did we leave off? Let's see.
I don't know.
Did we get Abdul's second in here? When did the MVP become a do more with less award? I think you read that one.
Yeah, we read that one.
Yo, Jitsu says LFG, 9 of our guys in the first homegrown wide receiver. #win. You get a second one, Yo Jitsu. Joshua Thomas dropping in $1.99s for us. And Sidley. Remember I was corrected last time. This is Sidley because it's Italy. Sidley. Mm-hmm. Ramirez, I'll let you take this one.
Let's remember Lamar blocking for Henry. #MVP. That name reminds me when we were still living in Baltimore. We like to always go get Italian ice over at what's the name of the store? Anyway, my husband always be like, we would always say, let's go to Little Italy. Little Italy. Let's go to Little Italy in Baltimore. Little Italy.
A couple of really good spots out there.
Yeah.
Adam78, how about LJ shoving the Cincinnati defensive tackle off and throwing for a touchdown? Referenced that earlier on when I said ragdoll. That was incredible. I think Sam Hubbard was on the wrong end of that.
Read us. Thank you, Eric. Read us. I did it again, Bobby. The chat made me interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Chat, you got to know, if we're in the middle of super chats, don't be throwing candy out in front of her. All right, we got time on task here, as a coach would say. Sea King of the Seas for you.
Y'all should have Acho episode at Jimmy's Seafood.
Bosef writes, the Vault needs to be on ESPN. Preach, Sarah. Sarah, you going to talk to ESPN for us?
Will they invite me on? Sarah is cooking with hot grease today. LOL. I say that all the time. My kids are like, why do you say that? I'm like, oh, we're cooking with grease now. And they're like, why do you say that? I was like, I got it from Roquan. Like, I don't know what, I'm sorry. It's now stuck in my lexicon.
A lot of phrases are gotten from Roquan. Not a fan writes, nobody knows what passer rating is, but oh my God, look at all those rushing touchdowns Josh Allen has. He's unstoppable from the 1 yard line out. 9 for 30 with a rating of 56.4. Not a fan. Keeping receipts. Xavier Smith.
Oh, man, that made me want to take a note. Okay, Xavier Smith. It appears that passer rating has become obsolete. I contend that QBR has emerged as the new standard for evaluation. Currently, Lamar Jackson ranks first among all quarterbacks in QBR. And Xavier, I talked about this yesterday because I was playing quotes from Mina and Dominic Foxworth. You're absolutely right that more people have been going to QBR because of quarterbacks like Lamar or even Josh Allen, who have rushing as more part of their game. And the QBR adds in a quarterback's total game that includes the passing and the rushing and elsewhere. However, that's why this makes this so impressive. Like if he were going to be the greatest in history in QBR, it's like, well, yeah, because he runs well. As Dominique Foxworth said, and as I pointed out to a Bills fan who was trying to make it seem like it's obsolete, that's because it diminishes Lamar's full game. It only considers the passing, which is why this is mind-boggling that he's going to be the best ever at passer rating, which only takes into account your passing and not your rushing.
138.6 gets him there. Single season passer rating record potentially on deck coming up this weekend. Phil Black writes, it seems the MVP award and all stat categories are important and relevant until Lamar is either winning or leading in them to some media. Captain Hard yet again, Sarah.
Becoming a pity MVP. And by the way, Chase Daniels on that same segment that I didn't pull, he had 4 reasons to give it to Josh. And he's like, and I know people don't like this, but I'm going to continue to say it. It is Josh's time. It is Josh's time. So he was leaning into the pity vote. Okay. So becoming a pity MVP, it's not because of Josh. It's the reaching of trying to downplay stats we have always used, like passer rating is overrated. I'm hearing excuses I've never heard before, like separation rate. I agree. Like, I don't want to trash Josh. I think he's having a sensational season, and I agree that it's neck and neck, and I don't hate anybody that votes for him. It is this type of stuff, like the film or the separation rate. I think Captain Hart is correct.
Let's see. Appreciate you, Captain. You got a few super chats today. Abdul, as well, drops in another one and says, notice how the moment Lamar starts breaking all-time stat records, those same stats are mysteriously not important any longer by media, goofy activity, and Dreams dropping in one of back-to-back $20 super chats for you.
Dang, Dreams. Mahomes won MVPs with Hill and Kelsey, and it's okay. Burrow has the top wide receiver tandem in football and are trying to force him into the MVP race. Rodgers always has had a true number 1 receiver, and he's a 4-time MVP. LJ gets Derrick Henry. Now he's a Thanos. SMH.
And Edward with a
or
$20
Thanos. Do you say
super
Thanos
chat.
or Thanos? I think it's more Thanos.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Edward drops in another one as well. Says, huge fan of the show. Sarah, I love how passionate you get. As a Christian and a huge Ravens fan, I relate to you. You defend Lamar the way I defend my faith, with facts. Thank you, and don't change. Nice stuff.
Thank you.
Olu writes, and it's for you.
Did I hear correctly that Daniel made an alternate Pro Bowler? You heard correctly, Olu. Where, when, how? I need to yellow at the tape. LOL. #Vault.
Let's see. More from Dreams, a.k.a. Queon, says, Bills fans, keep pointing out our losses to bad teams. Cleveland's loss I can stomach because it's in division. But why couldn't Buffalo beat us then? And another one from
Or their Houston loss. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here. Last year, Captain, man, he was the same. He's been this way all week, actually. Last year, AJ Brown got hurt the last game of the season, so that's probably goes against their thinking. I think that's absolutely true. The same thing happened like after J.K. Dobbins hurt his knee. Like after that, Harbaugh was like, "I'm not playing any starters in the preseason. Not
We
happening."
all remember that.
Yep.
I know J.K. remembers it. Don writes, LOL, we love Sarah Ellison. Sarah, pray for them fools in the national media. Bobby, congrats on getting to first base without the assist from Asmodeus,
Asmodeus.
a.k.a. Richard, who was there for the Madison Chronicles, as some of us remember from
Oh,
my
they
tailgate.
remember.
You're hilarious, Don. You're hilarious. And Malston 2-3.
If the window is smaller, wide receiver could be considered better.
If the window is smaller, wide receiver could be considered better.
I guess if they're making catches in contested catches.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jason Zarotniak and Mark Pankhurst. Jason, Mark, appreciate you guys for believing in what we're building. You are valued members of the Vault Patreon community, and we love that you support us through Patreon. If you guys are interested in doing the same, for as little as $1.99, you can support us this postseason. That's right. Postseason's right around the corner. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast. A great way to show thanks, a great way to get involved with our community at an even deeper level. And again, we just wanted to say thank you. Jason, Mark, this is your monthly shout out. Happy New Year to you and yours. Partner, we got another live stream tomorrow, of course, before Saturday's kickoff. It's a 4:31, which means our post-game show will be in the 8 o'clock hour, typically, right around 8:30 or so. So look forward to that. I will be at the Be More Around Town tailgate for the last regular season home pregame show. So looking forward to that. And then there's probably going to be a home, not probably, there's definitely going to be a home wild card game, probably against the Chargers or Steelers. So we'll see how everything shakes out.
More likely against Chargers than Steelers, but either one is possible.
Yeah, look forward to it. Daniel Oyufusi could not make our show tomorrow for his Browns perspective. He's going to be on a plane. So we got a little bit of work to do in terms of who our Browns guest is going to be. Not that there's a lot to talk about in Cleveland, but it would be nice to at least get to know what they're doing, who's going to be under center for them, either Bailey or DTR. So time will tell on those. I believe we're caught up on Super Chats now. We've got over 3,700 of you concurrently watching into an hour and a half, 90 minutes into this thing, and you guys are all still here. So we appreciate
Funny is
you.
I thought this was going to be a light show.
Yeah, I did too. But there's something about the way that you and I just compile. We compile, we tally.
Yep.
We let it rip. So awesome. Awesome stuff today, partner. Great to be back with you. And thanks to all of you for dropping by as well. Special thanks to Manta Sleep. If you want to support us, you can go support Manta Sleep. You can also support your sleep too while doing so by getting one of the sleep masks that they have. And if you use our discount code at checkout, VAULT10, that's VAULT10, you'll get 10% off your next purchase. So for Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Thursday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. We'll talk to you in under 23 hours from right now. We look forward to it. On the way out, if you could, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we're dropping our next episode. And if not before, we'll catch up with you tomorrow at noon Eastern for a Friday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. And as always, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the Vault.